Hey everyone, it's Greg Landsman.
And I'm Marc Veasey.
Welcome back to the Fly-In and New Dem podcast. It's Tuesday, October 21st. The House of Representatives has not voted in over a month. You heard that correctly. We have not voted in over a month, and we're now entering the fourth week of Trump's government shutdown. We'll be joined today by Congressman Rick Larsen of Washington, the ranking member or top Democrat on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, to discuss the impact of the shutdown on air travel and to react to Kristi Noem's airport PSA video. So let's get into it. Welcome, Congressman Rick Larsen. You represent the 2nd Congressional District in Washington, which includes, as I'm told, the beautiful northwest coastline of Washington and borders and is the border between the United States and Canada.
Yes, it's a district that stretches, if you want to think about it, in terms of geography, it's north of Seattle and none of Seattle. So you drive out of Seattle about 10, 20 miles, and then you hit my district. And then from there, it's about 90 miles north to south to the Canadian border. It goes to the Cascade Mountain Crest, has the San Juan Islands as well. Something I say about my district is no one lives there, but they all own property there because there are a lot of folks who have second homes there, family homes from a long time ago. A lot of generational families there, including mine. I've been there. My family's been there on my dad's side since about 1878. And
oh wow!
Not as long as some families. I represent 8 federally recognized tribes and their members, and of course their families have been there much longer than mine. But I respect them a lot. My sons are the 5th generation of my family to be born in the district, though. So, it's a great district to represent, be born in, be from, to be able to get back home and enjoy what we have there, but also fight for those folks too.
So when you fly into Seattle?
Seattle. SeaTac just south of downtown Seattle. Yeah.
And then what's your drive home from Seattle?
No traffic, 50 minutes. But it's about a 5.5 hour flight. Once you get in the airplane, it's about 5.5 hours just in flight alone. Yeah.
In addition to representing the 2nd Congressional District in Washington, you are the ranking member or top Democrat on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, which oversees roads, bridges, trains, and very importantly right now, air travel. We're going to get into that, but tell us 3 things about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing, I was born and raised in Arlington, Washington, and I'm really proud of where I'm from. It's a small town. Grew up it was a small town then. It's a slightly larger now, but that's one thing that I'm really proud of, and most people do know about me. Another thing is a big X-Files fan. I spent the last couple of years going through and watching all the X-Files episodes. And some of that, the first 5 seasons were filmed in Vancouver, British Columbia, just across the border. And the first executive producer still lives in my district and is a friend of mine. And I get to fanboy with him sometimes, talk about X-Files. And he loves to tell stories. His name's Bob Goodwin. He loves to tell stories. So a big X-Files fan. And then I'm a soccer player. I will say that my soccer playing brain is still 18. My soccer playing body is 60. And that is not a good combination when you're out playing soccer. But I'm co-chair of the soccer caucus here in Congress as well, and looking forward to next year's World Cup.
Do you get to play now? I mean, is that how you exercise? I mean, you're a fit guy.
No, every year there's a congressional soccer game. We play it like there's the congressional baseball game and there's basketball games for charity. And we do a congressional soccer game each year for the U.S. Soccer Foundation, which raises money to build small soccer fields or pitches in soccer deserts around the country. And so I play once a year. It's a fairly controlled game, but we get to play with retired U.S. men and U.S. women national players, which is pretty cool. I played with some, people who played in the World Cup and not well, I will say, but I played well enough with them. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great game, easy game. You need a ball, you need a field, and you need something to represent goals.
Haven't you done some stand up before?
I have been arrested for loitering many times. No, I did done stand up in the 2000s. I'm not quite sure the years, but there was an annual thing at the DC Improv that some guy put together for DC's funniest comedian, DC's funniest personality, and I got second one year and third
Wow.
1 year. Yeah, so did pretty well.
Do they still do it?
Yes, there's an annual fundraiser that Earl Blumenauer, our former colleague from Oregon, used to do. And now he's retired. Andres Salinas from Oregon does it. And it's Earl made it an annual comedy, stand-up comedy thing for members. Andrea has expanded it and make it a talent show, if you will. And so I do that. I will say I'm no expert. It's hard to write jokes. It's hard to write. Actually, it's easy to write jokes. It's hard to write good, funny jokes, and you do need to work on it. It does take time, and also you need to feel funny. And some days around in DC, it's easier to be clever and snarky than it is to actually be like objectively funny. And I think we're very clever and snarky at times, but it's hard to write a joke about what's going on.
Last term, my first term, I was about to speak on the floor for the first time ever. It's a big deal. I also hate wearing suits, as you all know. And so I had jeans on. I thought, well, if I had a jacket and a tie, I could get away with it. But the folks who manage decorum on the floor said, no, buddy, you got to get off the floor. You got jeans on. You cannot address the House with jeans. And so I went to the back where Rick was managing the floor debate as ranking member of Transportation and Infrastructure, or T&I. And I said, Rick, who was obviously properly dressed, I said, Rick, can I borrow your pants? And Rick Larsen looked at me. I don't think he knew who I was, but he looked at me. And even if he did, I think the answer would have been the same. He looked at me and said, no. Dude, ultimately, I got pants within a minute and a half. I turned to his general counsel and I was like, what's your name? And he was like, Max. I was like, Max, can I borrow your pants? And he was like, sure. Anyway, I was able to get on the floor and speak, but that's the story. That's my Rick Larsen story. It was one of my favorite Rick Larsen moments. He was just like, no.
He'd like his pants back, Greg.
Well, I gave his pants back right after I spoke. Listen, you're in DC, and Mark and I are back home. We would prefer to be in DC, but the House hasn't voted since September 19th. That's over a month ago. Since the shutdown began, more than 7,000 hardworking federal employees, Americans, have filed for unemployment because of Russ' vote and this president promising and then delivering on firing some 10,000 federal workers. The Affordable Care Act marketplace opens on November 1st. If Republicans don't make a deal to extend the tax credits by then, monthly premiums will double or even triple for some 22 million Americans. We're obviously Democrats are united in saying, like, we want to reopen the government immediately and extend these tax credits and protect people's health care. The air traffic controller situation is the one I want to jump into. So I want to ask you about this. You visited air traffic controllers, Rick, when you were home last week. And I'm curious, one, what was that experience like? What are they saying? And two, you came to this. I mean, this isn't just something that is a passing passion of yours. When you got to Congress, you decided you wanted to lead on transportation and infrastructure. Can you tell us a little bit about your meeting with air traffic controllers and why this is your passion? This is your work.
Yeah, thanks. So I think what I want listeners and viewers to understand about the air traffic controllers who are working right now is that they are dedicated to the safety of the flying public. They want planes to take off and land safely, and they want that to happen every minute, every hour, every day. And that's their dedication. they are now doing that without getting paid. And, they're still going to show up to work, but they're going to show up to work a little more jaded, a little more frustrated, a little more angry, because naturally that's what people will do. Anyone would do that in that same position. On top of a job that's already an extremely stressful job, you're responsible for 200 to 250 to 300 people at a time landing safely for 10 straight hours a day. And it's just not, it's not right. It's not fair for them. And so, say if you want to solve the pay of air traffic controllers, let's fix the healthcare problem, reopen the government, and then everyone gets paid. Everyone gets back to work.
You become an expert. I mean, obviously, and the go-to member for a lot of folks, certainly for Democrats in terms of transportation infrastructure, air travel. Can you connect a couple things for us? One is when there are fewer air traffic controllers, there are delays. Explain that to us, and then connecting those delays to everyday life for folks who are traveling.
Yeah. So there's something called a staffing trigger. It's when there aren't enough controllers in a control tower or in an airspace. Think of actually DFW is a pretty complex airspace where you are, Mark. Yeah. Massive airport, a lot of it's a central place. Newark, LaGuardia, Kennedy, another very complex airspace with a lot of planes coming in and out internationally and domestically. But when there aren't enough people in the towers, you actually then have to meter the traffic that comes in, because you can't shove the same amount of stuff, through a hole that gets smaller. Think of it that way. Fewer air traffic controllers to watch the space. You need to meter the traffic coming in. That means delays. And that means delays not just for the planes coming in, but it can mean delays for planes taking off from 2,000 miles away who want to get there as well. And so what that means in terms of delays is family members, business people, tourists who want to make that travel, they're getting delay. And what we do basically is we dump the inconvenience of the delay on the traveler individually, but taken collectively, that's a lot of hours wasted in people's lives. And then they get frustrated, they get angry, and that can manifest itself in the worst ways on airplanes, with people acting out there, but also it just makes it horribly inconvenient for family members who want to connect with the people they want to see, the loved ones they want to see across the country. So it is a very real thing. It's not esoteric. It's a very real problem that is being created when towers are short-staffed for any number of reasons.
Rick, let me ask you this: for people that lament the loss of bipartisanship, because you hear that a lot. I'm sure Greg hears it in his district. I hear it in mine. I'm sure you hear it in Washington. And people that wonder, do people still work together? I know when we were on armed services together, there would oftentimes be Democrats and Republicans that broke away from other members of their party to work on an issue specific to them as it related to defense in their district or something that they passionately believed in, because everyone needs roads and train tracks and air traffic towers. Is transportation still a committee where people oftentimes work on bipartisan issues, but the public doesn't necessarily see that? Or is it becoming, or bridges becoming what Republicans like to uncoordinatedly call wokeified?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. We get it a lot on the committee from other folks. And yeah, we've been really good about that. Sam Graves is the Republican chair of the committee. He and I came in together in 2000. We served on armed services and on transportation together the whole time. So we've got a connection, we've got a friendship. And we also, I would say when leaders lead, followers will follow.
Yeah.
And on this committee, Sam and I both agree. It's like, we are going to do our best to be an island of partnership in what is a sea of partisanship that we live in, or work in here in DC. And so we've been able to corral members around that point and tell them, like, if everyone just play along. You were going to be able to deliver for you in your district. You may want to argue about some other things that need to be argued about, but we shouldn't be arguing about bridges and safe roads and safe transit and so on, or safe pipelines. We shouldn't be arguing about that.
I'm heading after this to the airport to talk to air traffic controllers, TSA folks. Advice from me, questions I should ask, or maybe more broadly, as people are traveling, what and we talk to some of these TSA folks. Obviously, we don't get to talk to the air traffic controllers. What's your advice? What should we be saying?
First off, thank them for the work. You got some airports. I know the Seattle Tacoma Airport bought donuts or something for TSA. TSA folks are working. Just be nice and thank them. Recognize that they are working without pay, and you want to do everything you can to ensure that folks get health care, and then we reopen the government so they can get paid. That's all. I talk to them when I'm traveling, and like they know what's going on.
Yeah.
They're not going to be advocates. They're going to be advocates for opening the government.
Correct.
If that means getting health care for folks too, great. If not, I mean, they're not necessarily part of the political debate that sometimes we have in DC on this thing. They're going to do their job. Just be sure to thank them. Recognize what they're doing. That's really what they want.
All right. Clip of the week is Kristi Noem's ad, a partisan ad, which she's got playing in airports, but not every airport. Let's take a listen.
Hi, I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Oh, boy.
What?
Oh, boy.
Waste of time, waste of money, likely violation of the Hatch Act.
What is the Hatch Act? Tell people what the Hatch Act is.
Sure. The Hatch Act was created many moons ago, but it essentially makes it illegal for federal employees on federal time to engage in political party activities. And the whole idea was to ensure that we had a nonpartisan, objective federal bureaucracy that didn't put the thumb on the scale of politics. And using DHS money, or I should say U.S. taxpayer money, U.S. taxpayer time to politically attack Democrats on a false narrative, by the way, but politically attack Democrats as part of a very important message about supporting TSA employees, would on its face, I'm no attorney, would on its face open itself up to a Hatch Act violation. I will say also about the video, airports are under no legal obligation to air this ad. Now, for folks who are traveling, it gets kind of technical. Airports control most of the footprint of airports, but there is TSA controlled space, and that is the space between the time you hand your document to the TSA agent to the time you pick up your bag or luggage that's come out the backside after you've been checked. Comes out the backside of the magnetometer or the X-ray machine. That's TSA controlled space, and TSA has the right to show anything, including this video, within that space. But not outside of that space. So some TSA operations in some airports around the country have chosen to roll in video monitors in order to show this video. Honestly, I think it's wrong. I also think that most people aren't waiting in line watching videos of Kristi Noem say much of anything. That said, airports are under no obligation, and it's been reported more than half of the nation's largest airports have decided against airing the video as well. So, airports get it, they understand what's going on here.
All right, we got to get out of here. Rick, thank you for joining us this week. And for everyone watching, listening, remember to follow us across social media platforms, rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time we fly in.